You're about to witness a seismic event.
Fuck you, haters. You're watching Skitbag's radio. Listening? Oh, yeah, listening.
Hello out there in the universe. Welcome to Skitbag's radio. What's up, everybody?
Cheer.
Yo, this is Sailor Dev coming at you from the Dash Studios in Hollywood, California. I'm joined across from me by my homies all across the board. I got Mr. C and the Life of Neil the Great in the house. Say what up, fellas.
You know what it is. Sunday or whatever day you're listening to this podcast. Let's do it.
That's right. Yeah, Mr. C the Enforcer, a.k.a. Poppy Carlo Bad Boy. Let's get it in and have a talk.
Get in to have a talk. Are you Dr. Phil now? What are you doing? All right.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever heard you say that.
Yeah. I like to converse. I'm diplomatic.
All right, fair enough. Whatever. Gabster's over here playing live DJ. Say what up, Gabby.
What's up, guys?
And we are joined in the studio tonight by our esteemed guests, Sarah and Melissa from Peeve. What up, ladies? Why don't you introduce yourselves and say, I don't know if you want to tag your social media or whatever, but the floor is yours.
Cool. I'm Sarah DelPizzo, and our show is the Peeve Police, and you can find it on all social media at Peeve Police.
Yes. Hey everyone, I'm Melissa Graver, and what Sarah just said, my personal handle is at I am Gravy, or Instagram.
Nice.
Goes my last name, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm at Sarah DelPizzo.
Yeah, and Twitter is at Melissa Graver.
Well, we are grateful that you guys have joined us today. Thank you for coming on. And so we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of you guys' project that I absolutely love, by the way. And I had the pleasure of being a guest working with you guys on, and I'm grateful for, so thank you. That was awesome. But before we get into that, we always, casually break down every episode with a movie or TV show review and kind of like a synopsis and breakdown. And per our guest request, we're going to jump and dive into Jessica Jones on Netflix.
Ooh, like a porno flick.
I don't know if you guys noticed the hesitation in my voice, but I almost made an inappropriate joke and I withheld myself. And then Carl just comes right in behind me. Steamrolls that right at. There's no appropriateness here. That's fine.
We are Skitbags. We are the line.
Well, Sarah and Melissa, it was y'all's choice to, break down Jessica. What do you? I know there's a lot of similarities between y'all's project and Jessica, and that's kind of why we wanted to break this down. But before we get into that, I want to hear y'all's thoughts of the show in general, of Jessica Jones, and maybe like what you guys would do if you were in the driver's seat.
Before they get started, I have never once seen an episode of Jessica Jones. I don't know what's going on. I know who she is. I know the actress. I'm a huge fan of the actress. I've always liked the film. I loved how she
Jessica Ritter. Kristen. Sorry, Kristen.
It still hurts my heart that Walter White couldn't keep her alive in Breaking Bad. He just let her die on the side. But whatever.
She kind of had to go though.
Yeah, she did. She was ruining everything up. She was fucking everything up.
Messing up the whole thing there.
Well, you just ruined it for me. Thank you.
Oh fuck.
You never saw that show?
No. Well,
What?
No. Okay, so here's the thing with Breaking Bad. I watched the first couple episodes and got so depressed that I was like, no, it's not going to happen.
Aaron Paul, I just discovered Aaron Paul in that, and I was in love. So he was a disaster. The character is
You were in
amazing.
love with the meth addict, drug dealer.
I was.
I don't know why.
It's art.
He's another actor that was like, we were talking before, like Channing Tatum. Like you saw him in films, but he was just such an idiot. Like he was just like stage dressing. And then he was in this show, and you're like, okay, what the fuck? And then as the episodes go on, like, oh, this guy's like an actor. He's actually holding his own, and like
It's very good.
they kind of like made him like excel at what he was, the lane he was in.
Well, this is kind of crazy. I actually went to it was like a live stage performance of Star Wars.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
That was private. It was at the Ace Hotel, I believe it was. It was through Film Independent, and there was no cameras, no photos, no. This was like no proof that this exists other than like online. But he was one of the people. I mean, it was crazy that all these, like, Jessica Alba was there.
Like acting is started in Star
Yeah, so they were
Wars?
sitting in a line, and they were acting out like the script of Star Wars, and Chewbacca, Rainn Wilson was Chewbacca.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and I hadn't seen it yet. I hadn't seen Star Wars yet, so I'm laughing because to my friend, I'm like, is this real? Because I was like, this is funny. It's like, but it's like cheeky, and he was laughing at my reaction to watching it because he was like, you're just so ridiculous with how you're acting to this, because it was like 70s. I was like, this is like 70s.
Yeah,
It
it's like,
it did get created in the 70s.
Well, exactly.
so,
But I
yeah.
was highly amused by this.
Wait, so what part did Aaron Paul play?
I think I don't remember. I know. It was a couple years ago.
Fucking like Luke Skywalker.
Who was
and
it?
shit.
But
Yeah,
no, but
the
real,
good part.
Mark was
Solo?
there. He was Han Solo. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
He was Han
He
Solo.
was Han Solo.
Yeah. Wait, so who played Luke Skywalker?
Luke Skywalker.
Shut the
He
hell up.
was there. Yeah, he was
Wait,
there.
Mark Hamill was there.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So real
Luke
talk,
Skywalker.
we know Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is one of the nicest, most awesome human beings on the face of the planet. You can listen to one of our previous episodes where Dominic Burns, a producer from London, worked with Mark Hamill on a movie, and Mark was on set and on the same, I guess, studio lot. Somebody was having their retirement party, and they just had open heart surgery, and it was all Star Wars themed retirement party. So they were doing like a video blog like you do at a wedding, like, oh, hey, happy congratulations, bride and groom. But they were doing it for like his success in life and retiring from this business, all dressed up in Star Wars. And Dom was like, long story short, he was like, hey, we should go to Mark's trailer and see if he'll record a video message, because how funny would that be if like he's watching it later and he's like all his friends and then like fucking actual Mark Hamill while everyone's in Star Wars. That's
amazing.
epic. And Mark was like, yeah, okay, let's go ask him to do this video message. And Mark Hamill is so badass that he just was like, oh, you want me to do a video? No, let's just go down there. And he like got in his getup and just fucking went to this dude's Star Wars party in like Derby, London, some like fucking no-name town or shithole London. Sorry for all you Brits out there, but yeah. I'm just relaying what I've heard from others. I've never been.
You heard that from Trump? He called it a shithole place.
No, he didn't. No, nobody I know. I don't know. I misread it as fake news. Whatever. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Point being is Mark Hamill is a fucking gentleman and a scholar. So that I love.
And then a scholar.
Yeah.
What I heard when I heard this story, I thought he could have brought it up one level. I thought he could have just been like, hold on a second, I'm tired of like always going out. People always like attacking me with Star Wars pictures and memorabilia. There's a Star Wars party going on right now. I can just go in there and just be myself and nobody will know. I can just like, I thought that's what he was gonna do. Just go to the party and start like, start getting it in. Someone's like, you look just like Mark Hamill. No, it's just the prosthetics. Just
He's like doing the fucking Dougie in the corner.
let's just chill. I can like for once in his life he can be himself at a Star Wars party.
Yeah, he's like, I was just hired to be Mark Hamill for the day. It's not me.
What would have made my night even better would be.
I'll take pictures with you because I look that good. I'll take a photo with you, but like I'm
That
not.
happened to me once on a show that I worked on. So when I was blonde, I got told a lot that I looked like Kate Hudson.
Oh, okay.
And I worked on the movie Something Borrowed. And so
Big fan over there, apparently.
it's okay, I got cut out. It's cool. But what was cool was that because she was there and I was there, like people got confused. And so this little kid came up to me and he said, "Can I have your autograph?" And I was like, "Who do you think I am?" And he said, "Kate Hudson." I said, "No." I was like, "But and he was like, "Okay." And I was like walking around. I had a friend. And he was like this big like guy. And so, but it looked like it was my bodyguard. So it was just this whole day of like. Kind of
So basically, you like crushed a little boy's dream. Like you couldn't have signed her name just for the hell of it.
I would have just
Like,
been like,
come
just a whole
on.
bunch of loops. I've been like,
Yeah, like KH.
No.
Just
Front of the
die.
line pass, yo. That's what I've been like. I've been like, yeah, I am Kate Hudson.
Yeah.
Please, I don't need to
While
wait in
you're
these
up-
lines.
While you're up, can I have some water?
I had to happen when somebody thought I was Larry Fitzgerald, the wide receiver. This little, small, 6-year-old white boy comes up to me at a dinner table. His family sends him over to me, and he begs with his parents for me to be. He said, "I'm Larry Fitzgerald. They know it's me. Why am I lying about it? Why don't you sign it?" And he started crying in front of me.
You could just whipped out your ID.
And I was just like, I'm really not. I'm really not. It was worse. Larry Fitzgerald is like his skin tone. So it's just like, you guys are really big fans of Larry Fitzgerald. Your son's crying and he doesn't know what this man looks like.
That's funny.
But they wear helmets all the time, so I gotta be fair.
Well,
So Jessica Jones.
yeah, I was gonna say we've talked a lot about Jessica Jones recently. Well, I mean, what do you guys think of the show? First of all, if you don't understand the synopsis?
No,
then,
can I get a brief? Because I know that. I know it's like a Law and Order, kind of like mystery cop thing going on, but it's Marvel. So can I get at least a list of her superpowers?
Yeah. Hold on. Pause before you get this. Ladies and
Did you see
gentlemen,
Luke
I would
Cage?
like the record to state that I told my co-host fucking Neil here about breaking down Jessica Jones 5 days ago. So,
No,
yeah.
2 days ago. You said it was Jessica Jones.
Whatever. I'm Cuban. I over-exaggerate. All right. Anyways.
No.
Go ahead, darling.
So
I just had to embarrass him.
basically, Jessica Jones is a private investigator, and she works in the city, like all pretty much Marvel characters. And she had a really bad car accident when she was 13, 14, when she was a teenager, and all of her family members died. Her brother, her parents died in the car accident. She survived, but she was unconscious for a while from the accident, and during that time, some secret laboratory did test on her, which gave her powers to be extremely, extremely strong.
Okay.
So she's messed up and she's got drinks a lot and is really kind of has these internal demons, but she's a private investigator and very good. And you see that she's hooked up with this firm, which is Carrie Ann Moss, is I'm gonna say, I don't know if it's her. Is it her firm? Do you remember?
I think
Elliot's is her firm.
The hero firm?
Yeah, Elliot's Investigations is her firm.
No. Carrie Ann Moss, lawyer, has a law firm, and I'm pretty sure she is the lead lawyer in it. But somehow they're connected, and I think she enlists her to kind of go off and do some under the table kind of tasks for
Wasn't
her.
it like Heroes for Hire or something? Isn't some organization like that involved that they do or some crap?
No.
But the
But
firm,
this is how we connect Luke Cage, which is what's really interesting about the Jessica Jones series, is that's how they introduce Luke Cage's character, and they have a thing, and then he has his show kind of right after.
Okay.
But-
I knew there was a link between those two. I knew about her having that traumatic backstory, but so basically she just has super strength.
Yeah, super strength.
Okay, cool.
And then she's a private investigator is the main thing, and she's got her plot line is that, not to ruin it, but there's something that she basically gets brainwashed by somebody who has another person who has powers and under his control, and he makes people do horrible things, and then it kind of becomes her mission to take him down.
All right, there we go.
that's
There we
season
go.
1.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the underlying through line is her kind of battling her own inner demons over what happened to her as a child, and then the testing, and then on top of that her day to day with these cases. So some of the cases end within the episode, and some go a couple of episodes long.
And is she committing crimes of her own?
She's a vigilante, so she doesn't really go with the law.
She fights that.
She has
and
little.
then she becomes
She has
sort
a
of.
little bit of Dexter in her, kind of, where she's like, "Oh, I can solve this way quicker than these idiots can."
But she's not a murderer.
No. I know she's not gonna kill
She's
him.
very conflicted. She's very, very
But she's-
conflicted
but
drinks herself to sleep.
But she
and,
solves these mysteries on her own. You know
Right,
what I
as
mean?
the
Yeah.
private investigator, yeah.
And then she has a best friend whose family ended up with, who took her in, and who's in the public eye. Actually has a radio show.
Trish talk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch it now.
It's really good.
It's really good. And what's really cool is, this season, because it's in season 2 and it just got released this past week, every episode in season 2 was directed by a woman.
Yep.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And that's what my draw was to it, too. It's she's very conflicted and these internal demons and whatnot, but she's a badass chick and she's in the forefront. So in television and film, there aren't too many female-driven series and that do so well. And Kristen Ritter, she's a fantastic actor. And I don't know, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I'm actually doing an Avengers fan fiction series aside from this because I'm such a huge fan in general. And I actually saw Black Panther for the second time last night. But I think everybody has internal demons and struggles, but how she's so vulnerable and so wounded, and that's why she's that way. It's she plays this tough, badass woman exterior, I don't need anybody and I can be by myself. But you see, and that's what was so beautiful. You can feel the emotion and the hurt, and it was so palpable. And that's what I thought was so powerful with her. Tough exterior, but really so vulnerable and hurt and trying to get past it. And that's what kind of really drew me to her in the series.
She's very well-rounded. You don't always see that.
What's show did I recently watch where like the woman is just a train wreck? Oh, fucking Homeland. You watch Homeland? Homeland.
Claire Danes.
Yeah, Claire Danes is a train wreck. But
What
she's
is it
taking care of
on though?
business.
Like, is this like season 7
This season
of
like
fucking
12.
That's the thing though. Like, how long can you? Wouldn't you be a fucking wreck after chasing terrorists for 12 years? Like, Jesus Christ!
She was a wreck from season 1. Like I was like, oh shit.
Actually, I
That's
never
how I
watched
feel
that show.
about Beverly Hills 90210, the original, with Kelly, because it was like everything that could
Nice
bad
reference there.
happen could happen. Like she was raped, she was like in a fire.
Wait! She was
Yeah.
raped in the 90s? What the
Well,
fuck?
they used to handle big issues on this show. They
Yeah.
handled it.
No, like she was into drugs. Like she, like literally everything bad happened to her. Like her character, like was
Yeah.
just like the shit show
And then you had like Tori Spelling's character who was like a little virgin. And
with
like,
the big ass cross always.
oh my gosh. Speaking of that, I used to be obsessed with Brian Austin Green.
Oh yeah, the
Talk about
girls used to love
throwback.
him. I remember when I was coming up, the girls used to love him.
Oh,
He was good.
so hot.
The best.
I know, I love these. I think that's why I like Channing Tatum so much. Like all these dancers, I'm like, oh,
He's like,
dancing.
dance for me, and
I'm
I'll
like,
tell
damn
you
it.
if I'm
In the
attracted
school,
to
anyway.
you.
This is
True.
bad. This is the bad.
I say that about Justin Timberlake. Like I was like, homeboy wouldn't be so hot if he couldn't dance and sing the way he does. Because I've seen him in real life. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But as soon as he starts like dancing and singing,
like,
and I'm like, oh, when they can move like that, you just know they
He's
got
like,
some
hey,
moves in the
how you
bedroom.
doing this afternoon?
Fellas, take notes. All you youngsters out there, if you're thinking about giving shit to your fellow man for taking musical theater classes, just remind yourself that you'll be rolling around in the hot, muddy sun with a bunch of other dudes while your friend you're making fun of is going to be the only straight guy with 19 girls in leotards. So go ahead and enjoy your summers.
However, we should clarify there's a difference between like the Music Man and you know
yes. Like,
the
Step Up.
and Step Up or something
And like hot, sexy hip hop.
and there's like there's a little bit of a difference between Shuffleball Chain.
Very true.
But like
Very true.
singing and
However, there are some phenomenal tap dancers out there and that I follow on Instagram, and they're also very attractive when you watch them.
Well, Sarah's an actual
dancers.
dancer.
Yeah,
You are?
I am
I've been
not.
dancing for
So
about
you're-
25 years.
All
yeah.
right, so my aunt owns a dance studio. I grew up in a dance studio.
Oh,
That's
really?
why I brought all this up. Yeah, because I was classically trained in ballet, trap, jazz, modern, and lyrical.
Nice.
So, but I did hip hop in the same streets as Channing did, yo. We grew up on the block of North Tampa, where it's Suburbia 101. Anyways, so I bring it up because the fact of entertaining people, and yes, there is a drastic difference between the quality of like set ball change and musical theater stuff, and then like professional dancing and putting on a show, because I think what they did was put on a show for the film, and all their stuff was choreographed and related to that. But he was a stripper out of high school.
Well, and there was.
So was I, by the way. Fuck you guys.
And a lot of
Such
dance
high morals
styles-
in Tampa.
A lot of dance styles.
Yeah, we have very high standards.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of dance styles you have. I grew up in musical theater. I grew up competing in the dance world. And there's a very, sometimes when people think of dance, they think of ballets or they think of the Broadway. And Broadway's, I love Broadway.
Well, talent is attractive in general. Let me clarify that, boys out there. In
Right,
general,
right.
honestly, I'm
Always.
very, hence why, one of the reasons why I'm an actor. I was a hard ass. Like, I played soccer, and I was like, fuck me, fuck you. Like, nothing landed on me. But, like, I would go to, I remember I went to see my first Broadway show. I think it was one of my first, and it was,
Cats.
no.
That's
did
everyone's
see
first
Grease.
Broadway show.
And Tommy, no, I saw,
This is a good one. That's a classic.
Tommy and the Tech, it was crazy. No, it wasn't my first because that was really young when I saw it. But the one that actually moved me, made me realize I wanted to be an actor is when I saw Leah Michelle in Spring Awakening. I was moved here. Like, talent really affects me and moves me. So whether you can sing, dance, whichever capacity, it's hard to cut you off. It's like, to me, very attractive in general.
Absolutely. And that's in every area.
Yeah.
I get like that when I see somebody playing really good basketball. Like I get
Yeah.
emotional.
Damn, you
Like
got
a
some-
game-winning shot, I literally feel the chill run through my body. Like as soon as it goes in, and it's like, oh, god damn!
Even
you
if
know how
it's like-
good,
like,
I-
even
I
if it's like-
played,
Were you
so-
about to say, were you a basketball
Yeah,
player?
basketball player. So
Even if it's like against your team.
orgasmic.
Yeah.
It's orgasmic.
Even if it's like against your team,
Oh,
you're
yeah,
like,
it hurts the same way. It hurts the same way. Just
like even like I. This might be off subject, but just like you're saying, like talent brings you in. Same thing with me as like a basketball fan, like Carl just said. Like my team could be up by 2, and the team I hate the most, they have the last second game-winning shot. I don't want them to win, but the moment this guy releases the shot in the air, a piece of me wants to see it go in. You know what I mean? Like a piece.
The epic shot.
Yeah. You want
Totally.
people to win.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm an athlete. Like I said, I'm an athlete. It's like, oh, it's just something about it. It's just like.
Well, it's the same thing with acting and film. It's something you work on. You spend your 10,000 hours on it, getting to be a professional, putting your heart and soul, doing it for free, through injuries, pain, and sickness, and dedication, sleepless nights. I ain't slept in 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Seriously.
So, once you realize other people do that, and you realize what it takes, and then you see it working out, and then you see them making up new things you never even thought of. It's like it's almost like watching a god in motion.
No, it's true.
You haven't slept in 10 years?
Hell no, nope. And I ain't gonna sleep for too
Yo, I
long.
caught a fish this weekend. It was this big, guys. Anyways, all right. So, but one of the things, first of all, but we were back on the subject of dance really quick before we get off of that, because I wanted to ask you a question, Sarah, about that. Shout out to my cousin, Miranda Davis. She is an esteemed choreographer and has recently competed on So You Think You Can Dance as one of the starting choreographers. So she's awesome. And shout out to the Baker sisters, Nicole of which, who is the lead Rockette of the Rockettes for the past 7 years, the longest running head Rockette in all history.
I'm gonna have to give
She's
a shout
baller.
out. Shout out to Dina Kapiskowski,
There you
aka
go.
Donna. She, my good friend, well, an old friend, I should say, used to be a Rockette for a few years back in New York City too. That's cool. You just brought that up.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure they know each other. It's a small world.
Yeah.
But
It
you
is
get
a
in the
small
thick of
world.
things.
Yeah.
So what I was going to ask you about dance related was kind of, I had a disagreement with Neil and Carl's perspective about dance. I think that you can apply those methods of thought and philosophies to acting, but I don't think you can apply it to dance. Like, I don't think you can. I think the amount of choreography and the amount of like training and prep that goes into.
I disagree. If Neil's ever seen me dance, Neil's seen me dance for hours in places before. And I make up new dances on the spot, right
Bro.
there. It's like some So You Think You Can Dance. Nigga, I'm sliding across the floor, making 10-foot slides according. Motherfuckers just standing around watching in a circle. Okay?
Carl, I love
and I've
you.
done
Two
that shit
things.
for
Hold on.
years.
Pump,
so it's
pump,
just
pause.
like basketball
Time.
or any art you can
Time.
create on a freestyle or playing ahead. As long as you have the basics in the frame and you know what you're doing as a professional, you can not only do the basics and the coordinated things, but you can also create on that freestyle and make up something on the spot. And that's what makes it so exciting.
Well, I do think there's two different kinds of talent, though. I think there's that natural innate talent. Like some people, that saying, like either you got it or you don't. But I do, like some people err on the side of you can't teach somebody to act or to dance or to sing.
Oh,
Like,
you can. You can teach
but
anybody
Some
anything.
people think you can't. They're like, no, either you're to be talented. I guess I should say. But like I do think if you put 10,000 hours, if you work at it, like this is what you want. You may not be, Meryl Streep, Marlon Brando, but you will have worked so hard that there's no reason why you can't work.
Yes, I believe talent is a lot of hard work. In the dance world, I think there's I agree with both of you, and I'll explain why. Because if you have technique and you work on that technique, sky's the limit. And I'll even go. I've been dancing for 20-something years, and I'll still take a beginner ballet class because there's always something you can learn. And when you're doing the basics, I'm still sweating. Like, and if you're not doing it right, because dance is every single muscle in your body.
Yeah, you're not sweating when
But
you're done.
what I will say is, so dance is two parts. Yes, once you have technique, you can freestyle, you can do whatever you want. But there's a very different part of dance that is also learning choreography and learning somebody else's vision and performance versus just freestyle. Like, can I go in a club and freestyle to a
Well, I
song?
think it's
Absolutely.
like,
But could you also go and do, Swan Lake at Lincoln Center? Those are two
Well, I
very
agree.
different skills.
Well, I actually agree on that. Well, that's why I relate to acting and music and all that, because actors have to take somebody else's vision and make it true through their own personal technique and strains they have. So it's the same thing that you're talking about. But maybe somebody's a good funny guy, like when he's drunk with his friends, but he can't get on stage and be a stand-up comedian.
See, but I think it's
Absolutely.
very, to me, I'm going to say I think it's two very different things. Like, you're going to, like, here's a routine. You learn the routine. You may not have the natural flow or whatever, or the, like, whatever you call that. I don't know, I'm not a dancer, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, like, acting, you could do a scene 1,000 different ways. It's and unless you have somebody telling, I want you to do this exactly this way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's left to the actor's interpretation and then working with the director, and that's
he's
the
an
thing.
asshole director.
But people, you're talking about vision.
Yeah,
a lot of people, and
know.
with the Pet Peeve Police, Sarah and I are EPs, creators, writers, lead actors. We had a very clear vision for what we wanted for the show, and we had to, relay that to our director, who we had to trust to bring it to life. And and they're not in our heads working on this for 3 years like we were. He was not. So there's only so much he can do unless we, try to
micromanage.
Yeah, and you don't
want
to
to do that.
I wouldn't say micromanage. It's just about in the beginning stages, whenever you're collaborating on anything artistic, whether it be music, whether it be dance, whether it be acting or a show, you always want to make sure the creative heads are on the same page.
Yeah.
True.
Because then you're like, okay, I trust that person's decision because we all have the same end game.
Yeah.
So it's not about once you're in production micromanaging, because at that point everybody should be
a lost cause.
everything's the same page, and there might be slight disagreements on how to get to there, but that's when you kind of have little powwows and work it out. But going into it,
Yeah, for sure.
everyone should be on the same page.
That's good advice, kids. Listen to the ladies. Don't only use this in business, but use this in your relationships.
Disregard all information from Carl, ladies and gentlemen. But speaking on Pet Peeve, I wanted you guys to bring. That was a good segue, by the way. I was going to commend you. It's typically my job, but you guys handle it masterfully. Why don't you tell everyone out there what your project is about and kind of give them the rundown of the general synopsis before I wanted to figure out how it started and the origins, and kind of just like peel back the curtain for everyone out there who's like sitting in Iowa who has an idea for a show and doesn't know shit about how to execute.
Can I say something first? So I just want to know, for any aspiring filmmakers or anyone who's working on something, it takes so much more time than you ever think it's going to. So Melissa and I have been working together creatively for 3 years. And we started out with a short film named Codename Tuffin, and that did a couple of film festivals. It did well. And then from there, we were like, we should create more together. We had such a good time. And
well, to cut you off real quick, because it is hard to find somebody who is like-minded, who says what they're and does what they say they're going to do, and is on a similar page. And we're at the point where it's like, it's funny. It's like if she's upset about something, I'm the grounded one. If I'm upset about something, she's the grounded. And we naturally just it's literally a masterful thing if you can find somebody. Like, I don't trust a lot of people to get things done, but I trust her. And so like to find somebody like that like latch onto that and find people who you trust to create a team who will keep creating, because it's like the Duplass brothers. It's like get a camera on your phone and just make movies. Learn, make things, and with people you trust and are on the same page as you.
Absolutely, find your tribe. Find your tribe.
That's the essence of the Skitbags family.
Yeah, love that. It's beautiful.
So we had done that short film, and that's kind of when we actually realized, okay, I could create with this person, because we found this kind of like 3 weeks out of this festival. It was like a short film festival, and there were entries.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we should do this.
Well, my friend Rich, if you're out there, my friend Rich was talking. I've been for a long time. I'm like, I'm just so stuck being like this actor and waiting. Like, I don't wait well. I'm a doer.
No.
It's like, I don't want to just wait for auditions. And it's hard. It's hard. I'm in the biggest genre there is. And it's hard to sit there and wait around for things to come to you, and you're feeling like you're not being proactive, and time's going by, and it's, what do you have to show for it? And so I'm like talking. I've done a lot of like stand-in work and background work, and bit parts and commercials and play, like everything you could possibly think of. But being on sets, and I've learned a lot. But I didn't go to film school. I have a degree in psychology, business, I have a theater minor, and then a conservatory for acting. But it literally, I've on sets for 4 months at a time. I didn't realize how much of a film school education it really was until I'm talking to my friend. I was like, I really want to do stuff, but I don't really know how to do it. And I'm like, well, but I'm talking to this DP, and I was like talking about like not. I disconnected myself. Hold on, hold that thought. Is that right? Oh, there it is.
Cut,
and we're back.
Rewind. There we go. Chop this out. Reset.
Yeah, and I'm talking to him, and he's just looking at me, giving me this look. I remember, and I'm like, what? He's like, you just like spent 20 minutes telling me all the things you know. And you're sitting there being like, I don't know if I can do it. He's like, just do it. He told me about the competition. It was like an NBC, I think, competition.
NBC Shorts, I think.
Yeah. He's like, just do it. And I had this idea for something, and I brought it to Sarah. And And she was like, yeah, why not? Let's just do it.
And I did go to film school, so I'm like, yeah, I know how to do this.
But
I'm like, I worked behind the camera since I was literally 15. So for me, I grew up both performing and being behind the camera. So I was like, yeah, man, let's do this.
Yeah. So that's
Like,
the thing
let's call
too.
in some favors.
Right, and that's what we did. And it was good.
Just call it some favors.
We shot it in one day, and we we shot it in my apartment. We went to some random park in LA, and there was a homeless guy in a sleeping bag behind us. It was like the perfect background.
story.
True story. And there was people behind us who came there and started grilling.
Yeah, there was a barbecue. There was like some like quinceañera.
Yeah.
I don't know what was happening.
And they were playing music, and I was just like, I'm gonna pretend like I'm a PA. And I was like, hey, do you guys mind turning down the music while we get the shot? Like, just look real, like what you were saying, Carl. Just look like you know what the fuck you're doing. And you're authoritative, and they listened. And they were like, yeah, sure, no problem. They turned the music down.
Yeah.
We got the shot. We shot it in my apartment hallway. Well, we couldn't do it in front of my door because it was like it was like this weird catty corner thing, and you couldn't put a camera. So I knocked on my neighbor's door, and we're like, do you mind if? Because we had to pretend like
They weren't home.
They weren't home, but then they came home.
Right. And so here's the best part. So they weren't home. Her neighbors weren't home. And the scene was me trying to break into her character's apartment.
Yeah.
So I'm like on the ground with all these tools trying to get into the and then the neighbor comes home while we're filming. We're like, hey.
They got for the camera because they were like, no, we weren't lying.
Yeah, we're like,
So you guys got that on camera?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the best.
And one part of the story is why I'm saying this is that like I didn't think I knew anything. I'm one of this person like whatever I do I want to do well, but like you're gonna keep getting in your own way until you just do it. And for my first effort, for somebody who didn't know anything, got into a bunch of festivals, I'm very proud of it with the help of teamwork, and you called in favors, and it's crazy who you know. And my biggest piece of advice is it doesn't hurt to ask. Just ask because you never know. Because that was the thing that I struggled with for a really long time. I always felt like people would think I was, just their friend for that purpose because I wanted something from them. So just ask because you might be surprised what the answer is going to be.
And also, done is better than perfect, especially when you're beginning.
Yeah.
Like, just go out there, like Melissa was saying, and shoot, film something. Film your dog on a walk. Do something where you can just kind of learn and watch your work and get out there. And
Yeah. And everybody gets something out of it too. That's what a lot of people don't realize. It's like the person who directed it, he needed to get his directing reel together.
Exactly.
And then he brought his friend, and she has a friend from film school, and then like we knew somebody, and then he edited it and the color correct, and we're like, oh, we paid literally for Crafty and lunch.
Yeah.
And submitting to festivals
And
is
that's
it.
the thing. They knew it was going specifically to festivals, to this program. So if we didn't make it into the program that we submitted it to that started us on that journey, but had we, their names would have been in front of a bunch of people
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
So they knew, and that's the thing. Like I love the indie world. I live there. I built my home in that, and it really is about the reason why I like it is because you're able to explore different ideas that maybe studios are kind of waiting to see how that genre or how that's gonna play. And most people are doing it for the passion of filmmaking and for the passion of the project. And when everyone's on board, it's like that's where the magic happens.
And to your point too, it's like it takes 10,000 hours, to master your craft. It's the thing is, who wants to sit around? Who doesn't want to be proactive? I mean, that's your choice. If you just want to act, and that's cool. But this day and age, you need to create your own content, and we want to create platforms for ourselves. We realize we don't just want to act and writing and producing. Well, not necessarily producing. That's a whole nother.
And you were on sets for probably about 10,000 hours of film and work and plays and other stuff you've probably done just over the course of your career previous to that.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like a sponge, you were unconsciously soaking it up, picking it
Exactly.
up. And then you met somebody who has the bones, who was able to put it together for you guys. That's why you guys, I think, work so well together. You know what I'm saying? Like two puzzle pieces.
Well, and that's what I would say. If you have an opportunity and you don't have the experience, just say yes, even if it's to an unpaid PA on a weekend film or something. And I'll say that because if you use that opportunity as a learning experience and don't just sit by the crafty and talk to people, you can actually gain knowledge by people that have the experience and the education that you don't.
Yeah.
Right.
So be that sponge on set.
Yeah.
Ask questions and feel it out. See who's receptive to
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
mentoring.
Yeah.
And you never know who you're gonna meet, and you never know. Like sometimes you're on this indie film set that has no budget, and you find out that DP just worked with someone huge.
Yeah.
You never know because it's filled with passionate artists. So
I've done featured work and stuff where I was like a non-speaking co-star thing, and I made an impression on the producer. Came up to me, was like, "Send me your stuff. I want to send your stuff to casting. You were really good. I want to see if I can get you on something else." You just never know. And like she said, there are people who just sit there at the crafty table and don't pay attention. That's how I learned. I asked 27,000 questions being on a set for 3-4 months with the DP and directors and gaffers. I'm like, what is that called? Blonde, a redhead, a C-stand.
It's like code words.
I was like, yeah.
A P37 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The clothespin. What's that about?
C47.
C47. Yes.
Yeah.
What is that about? They just doing it to mess with you. But the stinger. What's the stinger? It's a light.
Yeah.
It's just a light.
Like,
a light.
yeah, like, yeah.
Actually, I think the stinger is the extension cord, right? No?
Well, I don't know. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's just this underground community. It's scary.
Well, if everybody's got their thing, and learning. I never would have learned any of this if I didn't,
Yeah.
It's
No,
so,
but I love what you said. Hope my friend Ryan hears this. Done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
I like the way you
And
did it.
that's a hard lesson to learn because I am a perfectionist.
yeah, me too.
And I tend to stress about the details because I feel like the details make or break something.
Yeah.
But
Well, this is one thing I wanted to ask you about the production side of your project is where did you find the difficulties between being producer and being
Devin,
creators?
where
And-
didn't we find the obstacles? It was that, you know what, there's some projects like Codename Tuffin that were just like everything falls together. And then there's some that you are rolling a giant ball over a mountain. I mean, it started, so we did Codename Tuffin in 2015.
and we're also talking a one-day shoot versus a
Right.
series.
Right, and it was like a 5-page script versus a series that had 12 to 17 pages per episode. With 6 episodes in total. So how it started was after we did Codename Tuffin, we knew we wanted to work on something again. And I had kind of gotten this idea, and it was probably through my own life, something had happened. And I said, to Melissa the next time I saw her, wouldn't it be funny if we did this show where we kind of just went around and called people out on their shit for being obnoxious and rude and douchey? And it would be more of a sketch show. It'd be us just showing up to the scene and being like, you're a douche. What are you doing? You're annoying everyone around you. What the hell is your problem?
And what are your thoughts?
And that's how it started. Something is like a sketch kind of thing where these 2 girls show up to the scene calling people out on their shit. And for stuff like everybody's annoyed about. Like people are picking up after their dogs, people, those annoying cyclists who cut you off and then give you the finger. You're like, you disobeyed the traffic law. Like, how is this my fault?
People that talk on speakerphone while in public, I hate you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
People who park too close to your car so you have to go into the passenger side. Literally happened to me the other day, and I texted her because it's in the series, and it happened to me again.
It happens to me all the time, especially because I have a 2-door car. So I need extra room to get in and out of my car. And there's been times where I've had to go out the passenger side or unlock the passenger side and open my sunroof.
what?
Yes, I've had to open my sunroof before. and
That's
go
insane. I
out.
did not realize that's insane.
Yeah, and it's a good thing I'm small in stature so that I can do that.
One of my driving pet peeves, I hate when people do shady driving moves in traffic, but they do them so slowly. It's
Yeah.
you know what? If you're gonna do it, fucking knock it out. Let's just take care of it
Totally.
right now.
But you know what? It's so funny that you said that. On the way here today, someone almost killed me in a car. It was a white BMW, and I know you own a BMW, but I have to tell you, everyone who ever is douchey on the road owns a BMW. Everyone. Every time someone almost kills me, I'm like, BMW. It's a BMW.
I'm a New Yorker, and I drove in New York City for years, and I drive stick shift. I'm a daughter of a mechanic. I fucking love cars. So I'm people who go 50 in the fast lane should be shot.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay,
75,
people,
80,
it's called a passing lane. You don't go 50 in the fast lane. It's literally legal to be in that lane technically anyway. Okay, learn the laws.
Yeah, I think you can only be in the passing lane for up to a mile.
Years
But you
ago-
got people who are like,
Do.
and then I'm now illegal because I'm going around them the wrong way, and I'm all like, and then I start getting roped.
No,
I end up on the exit side. I hit the exit. You know how they got the extra space for you to pull when your tire pops?
Yeah.
Sometimes I get so frustrated because I'm behind this wall of idiots and whatnot. They're driving side by side at the same slow, ridiculous speed.
Oh, yeah.
I have gotten
That's
so
traffic.
frustrated I go right around the outside.
Well, and you know
Got
what's
my
funny is in LA nobody uses their horn. And my husband calls me horn
Ooh,
happy,
East
but
Co-
I'm
Yeah,
all like,
East
move
Coasters.
out of the way.
East Coasters
I'm
are
like,
100%.
I'm like, let's get this together.
Bro, when I was in high school in my Jeep, I had a megaphone and a CB radio.
Stop it.
So I would a PA system, so I could just flip it on under my race and get the walker, and I could be like, "Get out of the way!" And
The
just
best we
people
get
like,
had like a
where the
voice
fuck did
changer.
that sound just come from? And like this little Jeep right behind him.
That's
So funny.
amazing.
That's amazing. I wish I had that. I
Yeah,
wish
me
I had
too.
that now.
Going
I'd
back
use it
to,
all the
to what you were saying, like driving in New York years ago, me and my ex, we went to New York for Christmas, you know what I mean? And we were driving around. Oh my God, the fucking traffic in New York, or just the driving in general in New York City. Now you put in the holiday season, we called it car Olympics.
Yeah.
Whenever
it's
driving
aggressive.
in New York is every event.
Yeah.
Every event.
Yeah.
You learn you have to go through the parallel parking. You got to go through you go dipping and.
You just
going
gotta know
through,
where to go. That's the thing. Because living in the city, I learned where people are like, you can't drive in the city, you can't park anywhere. That's not true. I lived in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. I knew where to park. You had to go really far east if you were on the east side. You couldn't be in Midtown. But at the end of the day, like LA's opposite. Permits go into effect at night, whereas during the day, permits are in effect in like high traffic areas like, Times Square. But at night, you're allowed to park so you can sleep and then go. It makes sense logically.
Yeah.
But you just kind of have to know where to go. But speaking of the megaphone thing, we were going to use that on the Pet
On
Peeve
one of
Police.
our episodes, yeah. For Pet Peeve Police.
Speaking of pet peeve, please, I did have a question. This is gonna be a little loaded question. It's two parts for both of you guys. I would like to hear your thoughts on the atmosphere of women in the entertainment industry right now, and the climate. First of all, in your opinion, your thoughts on it, and then as a follow up to that, I would, or in the importance. I guess importance is a good word. In the importance of women in media. And after that, I would like to hear your experience as being women and taking this from concept to execution and because is that a conversation do you guys think worth having?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been working behind the camera, like I said, for forever. And one of my first jobs after college, and film school, was working at Bloomberg Television in the control room for live television. And, here's the thing. In every area of my life, there have been advocates that have seen potential in me, that have helped me. And there have been people that have been so condescending to me. I went to a women in film panel recently, and there were 3 female producers that have all won Oscars. And the thing that they said that was so pivotal was that women in this industry get judged and graded on the work they've done, whereas men get graded on their potential. So me and somebody else can have the same resume, the same experience, but for me, maybe a studio would be like, you know what? She still seems really green. Let's put her with an experienced DP and AD and yada, yada, yada. Whereas if there was a man in the same position, they'd be like, but you know what? He has it. We can just tell, we don't need to micromanage him as much. And that's not even just a me thing. I've heard it from a lot of female directors, a lot of female DPs. It's just kind of across the board in this industry. But like I said, I've met amazing men that have championed me and been so grateful to all the work they've helped me out throughout my career. But I mean, as a whole, the statistics are horrible. I think women composers in the industry are 2%. Women DPs are 4 or 5 out of the 200 films made. I think in the past year or two, it's been 11 were directed by women.
Wasn't the Oscars the first cinematographer first cinematographer ever nominated?
And there's only been, I believe, 5 women that have ever won, or less than that, that have been nominated as directing Oscars and stuff like that. I mean, we're half the population. We're not a minority. We're half
it's
the
almost
But
population.
we're considered minority
Well, it
in
seems
the
like
industry.
almost like to get a chance to do bigger things, you almost have to have been gotten lucky by a mentor, somebody that put you on early, that broke the old boy rule club and said, you know what, I'm gonna give her the early shot. So then now other people will give her a shot, but at first you had to get almost this star fall from the sky shot to even get the shots, to get the statistics that we even talk about.
Absolutely.
almost.
Or do it yourself.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
do
It's
it yourself, yeah.
because we directed the original pilot episode of, because we haven't even finished that whole talk. This from where it
Right.
started from Pet Peeve Police and where it's become now and how long it took, and but we directed the pilot of it, and
we did that in a day, and that was a shorter script, we should say.
Yes.
That was a shorter script, and we did a day of like a couple of pickup shots, and then from there we were editing that, and we decided throughout the editing process, because we wanted to raise money for the rest of the series, and we were going to be doing that by crowdfunding. Once we had our editor, who is now our director, come on, he like really got into the vision with us, and he, you know, even made some suggestions, which then turned into us elaborating on the scripts, the original scripts, and giving them more backstory, more like, so it wasn't just like the situational comedy. And from there we were like, okay, we're gonna need a bigger budget, and for a look, so that it had the consistent look, we're gonna have to go back and reshoot the first
and
episode.
I took a class, create your own content, and that's sort of what the catalyst to get us to shoot the pilot.
Sorry.
And that was the thing. So the feedback was they wanted to know more about the women, but like why they were doing what they were doing. I thought that was interesting, and so I took that to Sarah, and she was open to it. And then PJ, our director, his whole thing, he loved, like, one of the episodes had a lot of heart, as he called it. And so that is also the biggest thing. I think things take a lot of time, to what Sarah was saying, and from where it was this idea she had to us writing really short, like 3 to 5 page
Right, 'cause
sketches.
we wanted it to be
ish.
around 5 to 7 minutes, because originally it was just going to be something we put up on YouTube to create a platform to have some stuff of us out there. You know, kind of against the Broad City formula, where it started as sketch comedy on YouTube, and then, you know, they would show it to people based on their fan base, that kind of thing. And then we were like, well, what if we elaborated? What if we made this an actual series? And it was really our director that convinced us that this could be something so much more than the original thought of, you know, like, you guys should pitch this to Hulu and Netflix. You guys, let's like, let me help you, you know, like, let's do this.
Yeah, and even him. So we added it stuff before him, made it more of a series esque, and then he came in and kind of made it more like sitcom-y with like cold opens and connecting things, and it just really evolved. I remember we had this thing because Sarah's like, you know, I remember you saying, like, I just want it to be done. And I'm like, I hear you, but if somebody brings us an idea that's going to make it better, you know, we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't listen.
You have to have that open mind to, like, friend, like, I don't want to cut you off. It's just like you have to be able to be willing to, like, just like cut down everything you did and, like, start from scratch.
Right.
Like, you have to have that open mind. Not that you would have to do that, but you have to have the open mindedness that you'd be willing to do that.
Well, that's the thing, and she's very open. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like some ideas may not be great, and that's actually my biggest takeaway. I worked on the film Why Him, and John Hamburg. Shout out to John Hamburg. There are many different kinds of directors. There are some that sit in Video Village and never leave and give their notes to the DP and have them relay it to the actors or whatever. And then there are people who are really hands-on. And it was such a learning experience. John Hamburg is so hands-on. He would take a pitch from, like, the crafty guy, if whatever. Like, I was originally tested to be a stand-in. I ended up getting a part at the end. And he had us running all the dialogue. So the 4 main stand-ins, because we were all actors, he wanted to see the comedy and the pacing. It's really important for lighting and camera and whatever, and then getting the actors in, especially when you have big actors, Bryan Cranston and, like, James Franco, whatever. And, you know, I could even say something, because he'd be like, oh, I really like what you did there. I'm gonna give that note. Like, and when we tested for it, he said stuff like that. And he was like, oh, you know, I'm having a hard time. This isn't making sense to me. This isn't working. He would sit there and he'd think, but he'd be in it with everybody. And then his assistant would be like, hey, John, I have a pitch for you. And he'd be like, sure, shoot. And he'd be like, oh, no, that's not gonna work. Because they're like, okay, let's try it. Like, that was such a huge, huge, huge lesson for me, learning, because, again, no film school. This is my film school education.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of director I want to be, the kind of creator I want to be, because being open-minded, and you're not, just because you came up with something doesn't mean it's the end-all be-all and the perfect thing.
Yes.
And there are other people who can bring something, and I get the chills when I talk about this, and add something to it and make it even better. It's collaborative. And that's what we talked about a lot in the Pet Peeve Plays. And Jill Soloway is that way. I worked on Transparent, and the same thing. And I've just sat there and she's like, she's an actor's wet dream, because she lets you play. She's not married to the dialogue, and you can, like, this is what my character would say. And it's like a process. Like, those are 2 people that I've worked with that I really respect and would want to emulate, because that is a positive, happy, and everybody was so happy on set.
And that's what I was going to say too, is when we, from the beginning, once PJ came on as our director, we said, you know, there's no egos here. You know, we're all very collaborative, and whatever you bring, we're gonna seriously consider. So we, you know, at first, because because I'm not a patient person. I'm the first to say
I'm not
it.
either.
But once Melissa was like, we really should consider this, and then we kind of like looked at the scripts and added and took away and rearranged things. Now I'm at a point where I'm like, I want it to be the vision we had. So if it takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit longer. That at the end of the day, we want something that we're proud of, not something that we rushed to get through.
Just to finish.
So that was really great. And we even did that with our DP too. It was like, the DP, our director, the DP, Jeff Billings, our director, PJ Germain, and me and Melissa, we were all together. And to bring it back to the topic of women behind the camera is we said to them from the beginning, listen, we want this to be really inclusive. So we want people from all different backgrounds. We want women, like if we can get some women in some crew roles, that's what we want. I don't want to walk into the set and it be whitewashed and Boy City.
Yeah.
That's not what we want. So everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has different experiences, and all those experiences are so rich.
And that's what Multi, yeah.
I wanted this to backtrack that you guys were saying about being on set, being like open-minded, and that's whenever I write a script, I make sure that whenever I write dialogue, I've told this to Carl and others before, whenever I write dialogue for characters, I try to make it maybe like, unless it's like something that's like pushing the story forward, like the lines are like 6 words, 7 words long. I want so that the actor can incorporate themselves into the lines. I want to put enough room in those lines so that you don't have to say it verbatim. Like, you get what this is, right? Now put yourself into that line so that it works for you. I don't want it to sound like a robot, saying the lines. And then another thing I wanted to mention was we had shot a short film also with Carl and some other guys in Malibu, and we filmed it. It was done. And I heard what I had told you guys, like, you have to be comfortable with being able, like, to just destroy everything and then start from. And I was like, what if I was thinking like that? What would I do to change this? And I actually did it. And I was like, shit, what if what we just shot, instead of it being like a A to Z film, what if we just shot this, like, I edited it, I'm an editor. What if we edited it like Memento? Like,
Oh my God, I love that movie.
Where we just did it backwards, and that's what we did. I completely changed the entire thing, and it's a completely different film. And it was just. It made me become more comfortable with being able, like, to change things on the fly, because I think that's what you have to be adaptable to. When
you do sometimes.
Every position on set too, everyone's a storyteller, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the DP's concerned with the mise-en-scène, everything that's in the shot, and making sure the shot is telling the story, and the director and the DP will work together to do that. And then the director and the actors are storytellers, because the actors are obviously telling the story that's written, and the director is adding that flavor to it to make everything make sense. And then, like you said, everything can change in the editing room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, the editor can see something completely different and bring it. We even said while we were
Tanya
making
is a
this,
huge example of that.
right? We even said while making this, we're like, we could probably even turn this into a film if we really wanted to.
Right.
So it really is like, sometimes you'll see the material and you'll be like, we could do either a miniseries, we could do
And it's about strategery. That's my word. Being strategic.
SAT word, kids.
It's about being strategic, because I have read some statistic that if you put a feature into a film festival, you're more likely to get accepted, because there are a lot less features.
I told you that.
Okay, so Sarah told me that. Because you know what I mean? So like, we want to, because the whole thing is creating a platform for yourself, but also trying to get some sort of backing, recognition, awards, maybe whatever it is, to fund the rest of what you want to do. Not that particular project necessarily, but like going forward. It's like you've got to kind of have to start gaining some sort of momentum in order to, and getting a name for yourself, especially as women. It can be tough. And I think, to answer that original question you had, for me, I think Sarah and I have talked about this a little bit with our project and in general, and but I think if a men in power positions and women in power positions are treated differently, in my opinion, and it's because we could do the same thing, have the same reaction, and be even killed like this. I mean, I speak with passion. It's the New Yorker and the Italian in me. But like, still, I also don't give a fuck at the same time. I'm just like, this is what it is, black and white, whatever. Let's go, moving on. But I'll be called a bitch, or I'm difficult, or it becomes a thing when it would never be that way with a man.
Well, she said, like, the potential discussion versus the resume discussion she mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
She mentioned, guys are more based off the potential. Oh, he likes to fire. Well, I see the kill in him, so I know, all right, I can use him. I can mold him because I see the kill. But if she starts to kill, it's like, well, I see you're a killer, but why are you killing me? What's going on behind you? Are you scheming?
Right. You get questioned.
We have to have way more advanced people skills than our male counterparts.
We're constantly watching ourselves almost. we're watching ourselves sometimes with what we're going to say. I noticed that we sugarcoated, took things down 10 notches, thought about what we were going to say, had a dialogue before we even responded to an email sometimes, because we were afraid of how it was going to come off, because people take things. And I honestly, I resent that.
Yeah, it's like being the president.
Yeah.
I don't know about this person.
We're just making all kinds of jumps in this.
It's interesting. It's interesting. But I mean, Melissa said in the beginning is sometimes I would call her and I'd be like, "Can you believe this shit?"
Yeah.
And like I would go off and I would have my little moment, and then she'd be like, "Yeah," and she'd calm me down. And
I'm
then
just like-
other times she would call me and she'd be like, "Sarah, I need to vent." And she would just do the same exact thing, and I'm like, I know.
We both would be like, I know. And it's just like, because the thing is like, it is what it is.
I had a thing I wanted to bring up also when it comes to like directing and female directors as well. For me, I don't know too many directors' names. I know just the classics, the George Lucas, the Spielbergs,
Martin Scorsese.
all I know is like the Ron Howard and now Christopher Nolan. Like those are the only like the directors I know. Like
Scorsese.
like,
Yeah.
Scorsese. I know like 6 directors off the top of my head. The other ones I have to know them, look at the movie, I look at the movie, and then I find who the director is. The other directors.
Catherine Bigelow, you should know.
You should also know Ryan Coogler now.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Yeah. Well, where I'm coming from now is the other directors that I know of are actors. I think they're really good. And all of a sudden I look on their IMDb, these guys are writers / directors, such as like Aziz Ansari. I know he's in hot water right now. Ben Affleck. There's a lot of like A-list celebrities or actors that also do directing as well. But when it comes to female top-notch actresses, I never see that like next to like their name. Like for someone like who's Amy Schumer, she's pretty funny and whatnot, but I don't never see her as like hold on, Lena Dunham. I know she's in it,
Penny
right?
Marshall, she's a director,
Right?
right? Penny Marshall.
Okay.
Vernon Shirley.
But does Meryl Streep direct?
No.
Like why not?
But she stays in her own lane for
Right.
acting. She's never gone off from acting. Like you have,
Well, that was the
Reese
old way.
Witherspoon. Yeah.
That was the old way. You were
Yeah,
an
that's
actor,
what
you're
I'm
an actor.
saying.
That's when like I didn't go to film school, into acting school because I wanted to be an actor. I knew that. So when I first started acting, you didn't have to. Now you kind of do, and you have to create your own because of everything with the whole new media and all that stuff.
Well,
Like, it's a very different
and let's
animal.
talk about Patty Jenkins for a minute. Okay, another female director you should know. She directed Wonder Woman. That's probably why you would know her. However, she also directed Monster.
Really?
And yes,
Yeah.
and it was a 10-year gap, and those were both award-nominated films. For different things. So why was there a 10-year gap when there's men that do one film and then have 3 films lined up after? That's the kind of unbalance that there is.
That's my fear with Black Panther.
Guys,
10 years before the next Black Panther. 10 years before the next Black Panther.
You know what? I will say I don't think so.
There's too much
I don't
money.
think so. There's too much money. Follow the money. Follow the money. But Ryan
Actually,
Coogler, the director of Black Panther, so he came up.
Who also wrote it.
He wrote it. Forrest Whitaker is his mentor, and he got big from Fruitvale Station that he did through the Sundance Lab. So
Michael B. Jordan.
the other things that I would say is, for any aspiring filmmakers, know what film labs are going on for your specialty. There's screenwriting competitions, there's screenwriting labs, there's directors labs, there's producing labs. Those are where you get mentors. Mentors is where you grow.
And don't be afraid to do a short film. Like look at Whiplash. Whiplash was a short film that went to a festival, got huge notoriety, and then ended up getting funded and became an award-winning film.
And then Damien Chazelle went on to do La La Land, another Oscar award-winning film. But Ryan Coogler, he did Fruitvale Station, which I don't know if you guys have seen. It's a phenomenal film. And then he went
I'm
on
afraid
to.
I'm going to cry when I watch that. Like that's
You
one of
will,
the reasons
you will,
why I'm like,
you will. But then he did Creed. So I don't know if you saw Creed.
I love
And he
Creed.
wrote,
The Philly
he wrote
boy.
and directed Creed, and now he's doing Black Panther, and Creed 2 is
Creed
coming
2.
up.
Oh, I can't
so
wait for
and
that.
I don't know if he's slated for director for Creed 2, but I'm pretty sure he's the writer. I would have to check his IMDb page for the statistics on
Sidestep.
that.
You know what Creed 2 is about, Carl? It's fucking Drago's son versus yes.
Of course it is. What else would it be? Are you kidding?
Sorry, lady.
But that's the magic of this business too. Is like you can come up through a festival, a very prestigious festival such as Sundance, but then all of a sudden people want to know you because they're like, oh, look what you could do. So there is this sense that you do have to prove yourself, but how do you do that? Through doing the work. Like if you can get the best opportunity, but if you're not ready for it, you're gonna blow it.
Right.
So it's like work while nobody's watching. Work while nobody's watching, put in those long days, work on the weekends, miss going out sometimes because that's when you need to write. That's when Melissa and I feel like I haven't had a day off since August. Since we started our crowdfunding campaign at the end of September.
It's like a full-time job.
So that was a full-time job that ran for a full 30 days. And then while we were in doing the crowdfunding, we were also doing rewrites for the script and doing pre-production because we were shooting in December. We shot January and December, it turned out, because of locations and whatnot. But there was no days off. And still not, because we have some pickup shots to do. We still have some other episodes to shoot. We're in post. We have to do, the social media, which is so important for marketing. It's free marketing, guys. So if you're not promoting your stuff on social media, you're missing out.
But to answer Devin's question too, is that it's as Sarah said, it's a full-time job, but who knows what could come out of it? It's like we could be struggling, and you don't go out sometimes. You do things for free. What you were saying about us being producers, and Sarah and I were very big on, because it's difficult to be the executive producer, the creators of the show, the writers, and the actors, but we did everything.
We did.
We did the locations, we cast, we did
cater. For the January stuff, I did the catering and crafty.
Yeah.
It really was like a
labor of love.
Labor of love, man. Because here's the thing, we knew that our names were on the line.
Right.
And it was very important to us. It was very important that everyone felt appreciated. It was very important that everyone was acknowledged for their talents and their time. We did pay everyone, but it was a small budget. And, for us too.
And we didn't have enough money to finish it.
And we didn't have enough money. And everything that Melissa and I made, plus a lot more, went into this.
Yeah,
so
we made nothing.
But at the end of the day, it's our passion project. It's something that we believe in, and so we're going to give it everything we can.
And the thing is, it's like, but at the end of the day, we have to be actors, and then to know everything, to know all of our lines, and that's we had the brunt of it, and that's taking off that producer hat and putting on the actor hat. But then because we didn't have wardrobe person, we had to figure out what our wardrobe was and keep track of it for the days. And then thank God it's our script supervisor, Erin Tarazi.
Amazing.
She took pictures and she helped us out, but we were such a skeleton crew, but everybody was so helpful and so on board, and we wouldn't have been able to do it without them. And that's the hard thing, is making being difficult and hard on yourself and perfectionist, feeling like we did it justice because we had so much to do. And that's the thing. It's
Yeah, it's like I'd be, setting up crafty, then going to makeup, then shooting a scene, then going back and making sure the catering was coming. And it is hard. It's extremely difficult to wear all those different hats on the same day, on top of the fact that we block shot everything, which means we shot out locations. So we were shooting scenes out of order. It's like we were shooting episode 6 right after episode 1. So even as actors, we didn't have the luxury of going back to a trailer and thinking, okay, so where is my character at this point from their journey? Because, realistically, it's, episodes and episodes ahead. And then trying to do all that, prep work emotionally and physically. And like Melissa was saying, also being like, okay, where's my wardrobe? And
and the hair and make sure the makeup matched. It's like, it was a lot. And I'm very proud of us, quite honestly. But it's a lot. And the emotional, I have something serious that happens with my boyfriend. But that was the first day that we shot. And then we had to go, the next couple scenes were the first episode. And I was like, wait, okay, so where am I at?
Right. It's definitely, I feel like we were like champions of wearing hats.
Seriously. But you learn a lot. We learn a lot. Every experience you do, you learn. Doing that Avengers fanfiction thing, I directed the first episode of it or whatever, and there was a guy that was there that was challenging me. He was sort of like, okay, so I guess we're gonna go do this. And I'm like, who's this guy? And then I had to, because I don't know if it's a male female thing or he thought, I don't know I know who he was, but. And I was like, no, this is what we're going to do. This is what's happening next. Because, they come.
I've seen this on set a couple of times.
Yeah.
Especially when I was one of the ladies in charge. I was actually seen on set twice in my 5 years of being with the Skitbag family. Every once in a while, we have a lady who writes something or something. And our crew, if you write it, you pretty much can direct it, pick what your part is. You're pretty much the queen of the thing. And I've seen it happen a couple of times where there was probably a DP type on set it kind of felt like it was his film or his like idea or something.
Yeah.
You know, it was weird.
And for like,
except
you
for that
know.
one time, Devin. Yeah. At fucking what's the guy? Bride's house.
Yo, I didn't do shit that one time, bro. Don't look at me. This was like I had two of my producers that I was training, and I let them handle this whole shoot, and I stood back.
I was like,
fly on the
finally,
wall.
I don't have to direct one for once. I was like, cool. And
This whole thing is going to hell in a handbasket. Like, I'm literally a fly on the wall, just like eating popcorn, like looking, watching. And I'm like, you guys are like, Devin, what are we doing? I'm like, you're fucking on your own, bro. I'm just right here. I'm not even here right now. This is a test. It's a test. Figure it out. Anyways, before we break up, one last question for you two lovely ladies. Young lady moves to LA for the first time in her life right out of college, trying to get into the entertainment industry, whether she wants to be an actress or a producer or anywhere in between. What's your advice?
I think the best. What? Is that you? I think my biggest piece of advice is do everything and anything that you can to get experience. Whether because there's people who won't do some things for free. I've been doing this for 10 years and I still do stuff for free because 1, you never know the connection you're gonna make. 2, you don't know who that person's gonna become. And 3, you don't know where that project is gonna go, and it may go nowhere, but it's a learning experience. If you don't have on-set experience, you need on-set experience. If you've never done anything production, you need production experience. And if without the experience, like a catch-22. So there was a girl, Sarah Music, shout out to you. She just came here. I met her at a networking event. I talked to her about my project, and she was so eager, and she was like, I just wanna learn, which is the smartest thing. And I was like, sure. And I got her number. I hit her up. I had talked to Sarah about it. And we're like, yeah, she's like, have her come be. We needed PAs. We couldn't pay anybody, but she was happy to do it. And she did it for free. And she, whatever. And she learned. And we're so grateful for her help. But that is the thing. I mean, I think you're gonna be an actress, background and stand-in work. I learned so much. People give it a lot of shit. And I think there's paying your dues. And I think if I didn't even know there was a union when I first started, I thought people in the background were real life people. Like seriously, I had no idea. Somebody told me something. I ended up going and meeting somebody at Actors Connection in New York. Tony Nation, had a conversation with him. He told me, but he's like, do background work, get into the union, da-da-da-da. So I was like, okay. He gave me like the things to do. And then I got very lucky. Got agent managers. Like I got super lucky, was auditioning and stuff. But like, that's how I learned about rules, about the unions, about set etiquette, because there is such thing as set etiquette. There are words that they say, going again, go to your 1, checking the gate, moving on, going in tighter. Back to 1. Yeah, back to 1. All these things. I didn't know any of that existed. So you could do background work if you could. Standing in is the best because that's where I get to like be a part of a crew and ask questions to the crew, and you're more in with them and stuff. And then anybody who's doing any independent stuff, because that's me too. Like I want to learn even more about production stuff. So I've said to my friends, like, if you ever need any help, like I would love to help you. Anybody who's shooting something, shoot it. Be like, can I have I'll do whatever background, anything you could possibly do to learn and get yourself on set in the thing that you want to be doing.
I would say don't be discouraged by the hustle and the struggle and fail forward. Because when you're starting out, listen, I have been in some really horrendous films and shows where I felt like Joey Tribbiani. Yeah. And where I'm like, oh man, how do I delete that forever? But there's gonna be those struggles, and there's gonna be days where, no one wants to hear what you have to say and nobody wants to see your stuff, and, be your own advocate and create your own content, hustle, put yourself out there, believe in you, because at the end of the day, no one's gonna care more about your career and no one's gonna care more about your talent than you. So make the causes to get that education, whether it's by, taking acting classes and constantly working. You are never an expert, ever. You are constantly learning. You are constantly growing. If you're not growing, you're going backwards.
I'm still in class, and I theater minor and 2-year conservatory, and in 10 years, 12 years in, I still take class.
Absolutely. So always be working on your craft, whatever that is, and just don't let relationships expire. You're going to meet so many people in this industry, and like Melissa said, you never know who's going to come and who's going to become something, but also connect with people on a real way. Yes, you want to keep in touch for relationship and business reasons, but when you find people, like Melissa said, when you find your tribe, when you find people that you can mesh with and you really enjoyed them on set, or you just think that they're a great person, just don't let that expire. Like, be like, hey, like, let's grab coffee, let's grab a drink, I'm going to this show. and really keep up those relationships, because this business is a business of relationships. And it's a business of, it is time's up. Me too. People's times of being not great and being horrendous in this industry and treating people like they're not people is done. So, be that person that when you find good people, be like, I want to help that person, because at some point you're going to be in a position to help others.
And I've done
and pay
that,
it forward.
'cause I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know anybody. There's nobody to help me. And if I can help somebody, struggle a little less or whatever, like that makes me feel like I'm paying it forward. And it's tough. Like I'm still struggling, and it is a struggle. They say literally that saying, it's a marathon, not a sprint, is so true. And keep dreaming. The Oscars, that's what I really appreciated. They were so big on that. Keep dreaming, 'cause why not you?
And there's no such thing as an overnight success.
No, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success in the industry.
There's no such thing. So don't get deflated and don't compare yourself to others. Everyone has their own journey, and just stay in your lane and do you. Do what you're passionate about. Do what, everyone has to give up and sacrifice at some point in this industry something. So remind yourself why you're doing it.
I once told someone that they were so discouraged at where they were in their life, what they haven't or had accomplished and whatnot. And I was like, you shouldn't really be focused on that, because when the time comes that you actually do accomplish what you're out here to do, at that time, someone's going to be looking at like, oh my God, I can't believe you've accomplished that at that time. You know what I mean? Like, you can't put a deadline into what your dream is, because once you've hit it, then to someone else, that's going to be like, oh my God, how did they do that in such a quick amount of time,
Well, that's true. It's like, you can be like, how many, like I've had people say, like, how long are you going to give it a try? And it's like, you can't do that. Because it could take John Hamm, I think took him 20 years. Bryan Cranston was doing like some,
He was doing like steel work or something.
He was doing some random commercials that were like ridiculous. You know what I mean? Then he got Breaking Bad. That's the thing.
I don't care how long you guys watch Breaking Bad. Yo, he's always Hal to me. He will always be Hal from Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle.
Always. He will always be Hal.
Yes. I'll be like, yo, Hal is wilding on Breaking Bad. What's wrong with Hal? He's still wilding and shit.
Yeah.
Always.
No, but yeah, that's
Like,
just.
I thought Breaking Bad was like, Hal? Like, that's my favorite character.
Oh, and I'll also add one last tip. Always treat others how you want to be treated, which is how you should live your life in general. But especially on set, everyone's tired. Usually everyone's kind of hungry. And, nobody wants to be talked down to. Nobody wants to be yelled at or treated like a child. Everyone's doing their best. And sometimes you need to remind people how to do certain things. Absolutely. But, you can always do it in a way in which someone will be responsive instead of a bully.
Yeah. And keep yourself sane, because casting directors, everybody's in the entertainment industry. They don't want to know all the stuff you casting director workshops or classes or whatever. They want to know what's interesting about you. You have to be human to them. So that just make sure, and it will keep you sane too, because you got to find ways to keep it moving forward.
Brevity is not our strong suit, as you can see.
No.
You're like, what's unique about you? And Gabby's just like, yo, I'm a mermaid, bitch.
That's awesome.
Anyways, well, thank you, ladies, so much for offering your perspective, your insights, and your experiences through this whole journey. I really love it. I'd like to openly extend an invitation for you to have you guys back whenever.
Hey.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yes.
All I have to do is ask one question and just sit back and let you guys talk. It's like the easiest job in the world. I love it. You guys are amazing, so thank you.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
us. It's so fun, and I realized we never the synopsis.
Yeah, we didn't get on shit.
And the synopsis of the show. And tagline.
Go through, break it down.
So
That's
real
what you're
quick,
here to promote.
quick. It's about two women that are fed up with the way society is treating them. So they decide to take justice into their own hands and become vigilantes in the process. And they rid the world of douchebags one pet peeve at a time.
Yeah, ridding the world of inconsiderate douches one pet peeve at a time.
So check it out. We're on all the social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Pet Peeve Please. We're the people that run it. So if you want to reach out to us directly, that's the best way. And of course, at our personal social media handles, I'm at Sarah DelPizzo on Twitter, at Facebook and Instagram.
For me, Instagram, as I said, is I am Gravy, GRAVEY. And Twitter is at Melissa Graver, and Facebook's probably just is Melissa Graver too.
And for all you guys out there, guys and gals out there listening, we will put links in the description of our YouTube video if you're listening to this on Dash. pop on over to YouTube in about a week. You'll see the full unedited episode, but also we'll have highlight clips set up there for all your favorite moments from this broadcast. Just giving little shout outs to everybody. And you dropped so much knowledge. I said you made my life easy, but I'm gonna have to go through and post and be like, what the fuck do I cut from here? I don't know cut anything. Anyways, so thank you guys for coming on. If you have anything else you want to plug, shout out to everyone. Otherwise, I don't know. You guys want to tag out? What do we got to promote today? By the way, this show is not sponsored. Anything we plug or promote is because we believe in it and we love it and we don't want to steer you guys wrong. So whether it's a product, a service, an individual, a project, whatever, we're doing it because we love it.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, Mr. C the Enforcer, Poppy Carlo on Instagram, Mr. C Force on Twitter. Also, check me out at The Ding Dong Show, which is every Monday night at the Comedy Store, 10:30 on the YouTube, The Ding Dong Show. Also, you want to always check out The Clapper, which is in theaters right now, with Mickey Goose, Tracy Helms, Skitbag's fam, kicking it down with Russell Peters. Ed Helms, there you go. Get the names how they get them. Go see it. Matter of fact. Also, check out Scramble, which is on iTunes, done by the LA Reels and Skitbag's family and whatnot. Also, check out gtcomedyjam.com. We do comedy shows twice a month around the city. Bring your ass out to the funny and fucks with us and fucks with the Skitbags.
Yeah.
To cheer, you can find me at Instagram at The Life of Neil the Great, just how it's spelled out, except my name is Neil. You guys should know, right? Neal is like for those other guys. And
they should know by now. If not, I don't know who the fuck this Nile is that you guys been following.
And
wasn't he in One Direction or something?
At GorillaFlix.com. Don't forget that one. Hit one up if you need, get your music videos done. And that's what it is.
Also, if you want to tweet at us, you can go on Twitter and tweet at the show. Keep up with updates for upcoming guests, highlight reels, and all kinds of behind-the-scene footage at Skitbags Radio on Twitter. And if you'd like to email the show, we are skitbagsradio@gmail.com. So send us some love, send us some hate, send us some news. Whatever you want, just don't send us some viruses or I'll track you down like Jay and Silent Bob and beat you to death. Just kidding. Those jokes, guys. I don't want no lawyers up on me. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Damn, Melissa and Sarah, bring in the fucking heat today. How about a round of applause for our lovely ladies in the studio? And everyone tag off. Say goodbye to everyone out there in the world. Skitbags Radio tagging off. Peace out, you guys.
Skitbags Radio.